All right. Hey guys, thank you so much for joining today's Seller Speak. And we have Bashar with us today. Really excited to have you here, Bashar. So Bashar he's an entrepreneur, he's a motivational speaker, and above all, he's also a business mentor. He has risen from really humble origins, and he's transformed himself to become a very well respected online selling guru. And so go ahead, Bashar, tell us more about where you started and what got you here.
Absolutely. So I'm based out of San Diego. I actually been in the United States for a little over 12 years now. Moved back from or moved from Iraq, 12 years ago, seeking pretty much, a better life, better opportunities. My family decided that it was time for us to pretty much flee Iraq, which was our home country, because after the war in 2003, things were just not exactly as we hoped. So, I am very glad that we actually made it to the U.S., because absolutely better life was waiting for us. Ever since I was a young child, I always, felt and thought that there was more to me than just, going to school, getting a degree, and just kind of doing the whole 9 to 5 and stuff like that. I always knew that I wanted more from life, and just even as a child, I was just kind of more ambitious than any average kid. I was good in school, but it wasn't enough. Several years back, I started. My first job was at McDonald's, as many people probably have started here at 15 years old. From there, I literally just started working in restaurants. It was just kind of, I guess you could say maybe it was a passion, and I thought it was a passion, but it was more like I got tossed into it. Me and my brother started our first pizzeria restaurant at 19 years old. I was 19, he was a little older, and that was a total success. And then I went on to opening my own restaurant and bar at 22 years old. Invested nearly $500,000 over 3 years. And a lot of it was my family's money. Some was, money that I actually had saved up over the years. But, what I realized a couple of years later was that I jumped into something that I did not exactly know what I was doing. I had no guidance. I had no mentorship. I had no previous experience. And what happened was I literally, almost lost that place. 2.5, 3 years later, I was probably about $150,000 in debt. Things were just not going according to plan, and I needed a way out. I needed to kind of fix things around. And that's kind of where I came along and started online entrepreneurship. It was literally one day I was very depressed, and I sat in front of my computer at 8 o'clock at night, and I looked at my laptop and I said, "You're supposed to make me money. Show me how." And then I started looking into, real estate investing, stock trading, a bunch of different things. And then I started watching YouTube videos about Amazon FBA. I never even knew that Amazon FBA actually existed, or even it was a thing, until I actually saw people, drive Lamborghinis and living in all these beautiful houses and stuff like that. And I was like, what is all, I thought everything that was sold on Amazon was actually sold by Amazon, which what a lot of people think. Sometimes when I approach people and say, hey, I can teach you how to sell just random, products, everyday products, or even products that you've never even thought of on Amazon, they stare at me like I'm stupid. And they're like, oh, you can actually sell on Amazon. They can't even, imagine that. And honestly, ever since, it took me a while to actually figure it all out. And it wasn't, something that I figured out on my own. It was actually something that I was able to get help. I took a couple of courses. I had a couple mentors, and they got me through. I did a lot of mistakes. I wasted a lot of money and a lot of time. And now thinking back to it, if I had to redo it all over again, the first thing I would do is probably join a mentorship program in somebody, and not just any program. I mean, there are a bunch of gurus out there, but join someone or somebody's program that's actually willing to help you, willing to be there for you and kind of guide you through the process. That's kind of one thing I would do differently. But absolutely anything you start in life, I think it's always good to piggyback on somebody else's success rather than trying to do it on your own. And that's something that I did not do in my restaurant business. However, I did in my Amazon business. And thankfully, I've been successful with it. And now I am, I have several successful students that are doing anywhere between $500 to $1,000 a day in sales. And, I mean, they can show it and stuff like that. So it's absolutely has changed my life, but definitely has changed others' life. And that's, to me, I think that's what success really is. It's not about how much you make, but how much you can make others make, So that's kind of my, little story there, not to going too deep into it. So.
That's interesting. And one thing that stuck with me was that after talking to a lot of beginner sellers, I do know that they end up spending a lot of money, right? They end up wasting a lot of money. So what do you think they could do to, I wouldn't say that they can straight ahead hit success with their first product, but what do you think are the pitfalls and how can they avoid this?
Absolutely. So as I was saying earlier, any business you do, the most dangerous stay that I always explain to people is not knowing what you don't know. So you might think that in order for you to succeed in any business or a particular business that you're going into, there are 5 steps of the process. And you might think there are 5 steps, but there might really be 6 steps or 7 steps or 8 steps. But you only know about the 5 steps. You don't know the things that you don't know. So that's why I always say, and as I said earlier, piggyback on somebody else's success. I get a lot of beginners. I mean, I get contacted by tens, if not hundreds of people daily, either have tried selling on Amazon and failed, or wanting to and just kind of hesitant, or don't have money or whatever, just kind of different scenarios and different cases. And the biggest mistake they make is I say, okay, let me help you, and they say, okay, well, I'm going to go and find a product and launch a product. And then when I make money, I'm going to come back to you and then pay for your time and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, well, here's the problem. If you don't know what you're doing, you're not going to launch a successful product. You're not going to find a successful product and launch it. And it's happened many times where they go and, months later, they contact me again and say, remember back in January when we talked and, you told me this and that. I went and launched the product, and now it's been in Amazon's warehouse for 3 months and I've only sold 4 units and I don't know what to do. And then I look at the product and the product just sucks, And that's the thing, regardless of, if your listing is great, your PPC campaigns are great, you're doing giveaways, you got reviews, all that. If there's no demand for your product, it's just not going to go anywhere. And that's kind of the harsh truth about it. So if you are a beginner, and if, there is one piece of advice I would give you, is invest in yourself, okay? Find you someone that is willing to help you, who has done this before, who is successful at it, and who will show you the steps, okay, and guide you through the process. Piggyback on somebody else's success. Do not reinvent the wheel.
Right. So you pointed out an interesting thing wherein you said, you choose products which have demand. So consequently, the products that have demand also have a lot of competition now on Amazon, right? So how do you deal with that?
So, I mean, here's the thing. Look, another thing that many new sellers, when they start thinking, oh, I'm going to sell online, or I'm going to sell on Amazon or Shopify or whatever, they start looking around their house. They start looking around their car. They start looking around work. What do I use often? What do I use every day? Although that is kind of a good thing, because, let's say, I don't know, paper towels, toilet papers, whatever, things that use on a daily basis. Although those are probably very hot sellers and you're probably selling tens, hundreds, and maybe even thousands a day or a month or a week or whatever, at the same time, they're going to be very competitive. So the way that we do it, the way that I teach, the way I do it is that, or the way at least I was taught by my mentors, is looking for random products. And literally about 75 to 85% of the products that I have sold and selling and have shown and taught my students to sell are products that we never even thought they existed. They're just random products I have never seen anywhere. No retail stores, no online, no, just nowhere, They're just very random. You can even say weird products that you never even thought they existed. And the cool thing about it is that there's a specific criteria that we use to finding those products. Very simple. 3 very important criteria variables that I look for. I analyze top 10 listings. So let's say I find a niche I find a product, I use a very broad keyword to, to searching that product. And then I use just any Chrome extension that can, give me some information about these products, how many sales, how many reviews they have. And I look for products that have a number of sales of over 300 a month, a number of reviews below 70, and then a selling price of 18 to 35. Now, the reason why I say 18 to 35, because many times when you go to, to a retail store, when you go online, when you find something down the aisle that you just like catches your attention like that, you're like, oh, I like this, and if it's like 20, 25, even $30, you don't, second guess yourself. You don't think about it twice. You just pick it up and leave, you like it, you fell in love with it, you grabbed it, you bought it, it is what it is. But once it gets to the point of like 40, 50, $60, you start kind of second guessing yourself. Oh, what if I can get it cheaper somewhere else? What if I can buy it online? What if this, what if that? And you might find a listing that's got maybe a cheaper price, a better value for your price or whatever, and you might not buy that current listing right there and then. So there are a few things that we look for, but definitely products that sell high and have low reviews. And believe me, they are out there. I am selling 7 of them right now. I have students that are selling tens and tens of them, and there are thousands and tens of thousands out there that people are finding every single day and buying. So it's absolutely out there.
So that's great. So I have one question for you. So most of the sellers that I've spoken to, most often than not, they have these parameters or criteria that they use to select products, right? So what happens is a lot of sellers who are going through the same Amazon course or who have the same mentor end up selecting similar products, which makes the niche so competitive by the time they launch. So what do you think would be a good how can they overcome this and not fall into the same thing as the others?
Right. Now, see, here's the thing. So every single product, if you look up anything, I mean, I'm not even going to say anything competitive, but let's say, so one of the products that one of my students tried to launch, but the demand wasn't all there. I don't know if you've seen them. There's like this big old bracelet that's like a flask. You can like pour wine in it or pour like alcohol or something. And it's like cool to wear to a party or something. You can like drink out of it, It's a metal flask that's like a ring. It's like very big. You put it around your wrist. And so if you look up, metal ring flask or something like that, or just metal flask, or I don't know, you're going to notice that there are probably tens of pages. So there's like 5, 10, 15, 20 pages. And each page has, I think, like 20 or 30 listings. So you're not exactly just competing against your the students within the same course or the students within the same niche or whatnot, but you're competing against other sellers. And although mentors, can teach you what they know, but it's also up to you to differentiate yourself and make sure that you are different, because everybody puts in their own personality into the listing and into the product, like me and you can be taught by the same mentor, exactly the same steps, and we can both be given exactly the same product. However, your product is probably going to look very different from my product because your personality is different than my personality. You may see things that, I may not see that you're going to include in your product, different pictures, different style of title, features, description, things like that. And then there is also, just kind of a level of understanding, like I teach students from literally, I probably have students in probably 30, 40, 50 different countries around the world. And every single one of them, has a different style of creating a different product. I have 2 people that actually launched the same product. They don't know they have, because I don't share products, it's very confidential. They have launched both the same product. They both have launched the same product within about 2 weeks of each other. One is selling 2 units a day. The other one is selling 15 units a day. Okay. They were taught the same. They chose the same exact product. If you look at their listings, they're very similar, but the way they do things, the way they create their campaigns, the way they do the giveaways, and then the way they've understood and absorbed their information is a little bit different, So it's selling on Amazon, selling online, or just anything really. it's a business, you know, and it's all about, it doesn't matter how much I teach you. It doesn't matter how much you know. It's all about you and how much you exactly want to take this, you know, what level you really want to take this to, and how much commitment you personally have to the listing, to the product, and to just the whole business altogether. So it's really all dependent on you as a seller, as a businessman. And that's the thing, you know, like with my course, at least, I don't know about others. I am trying to create individual and independent entrepreneurs. I don't, you know, like I've been approached a lot of times by people saying, hey, you know, can we invest together? You know, what if you invest in this product and we sell together, you become my partner? I'm like, no, my whole vision is creating, you know, individual and independent entrepreneurs. You know, I'll teach you a business and it's all about you and, you know, you know, to what level you're going to take this. You know, I'm giving you all the tools, but I'm not going to babysit you. You know, I'm going to teach you this once, twice, 3 times, and I'll show you exactly, I'll answer all of your questions, but it's all dependent on you and how much you want to take this, you know, to what level you want to take this. So it's really dependent on the person, their personality, their characteristics, and really their commitment to the business. So.
Interesting, interesting. So one of the examples that you gave was the flask, right? The wrist flask. So when you have like such bizarre products that, you know, like when you're selling such products, how do you drive traffic to it? Because I'm guessing the typical primary keywords like maybe wrist flask, what you think would be the primary keyword for the product, might not have a high search volume, right? So in such cases, how do you market yourself and drive traffic to your listing?
Absolutely. So, I mean, you know, once again, you know, as I was saying earlier, the flask might not be a good example because I have analyzed it many times and it's not a product in demand, you know? So, you know, but other products, so what we do is we use different softwares. And I mean, we couldn't exactly do everything without softwares. So let's say what I personally do is I go and search for keywords, for heavily searched keywords that have to do with a product. And I find 3 to 5 different keywords that are very heavily searched, right? And then what I do is I try to do giveaways and I try to do obtain reviews under those or using those keywords. That's number 1. Number 2 is you need to create a very good PPC campaign, right? And in order for you to do that, once again, we use softwares to do reverse ASIN. Reverse ASIN meaning, you know, you find some listings or some products that are similar to yours, and you go and put them in softwares that will give you all the keywords they are using to rank, to sell, you know, and then you get those keywords and put them and use them for your listing. Either put them in your backend keyword searches, or you put them within, you know, you optimize your listing, you put them in the title, features, description. So what you do is let's say you put the niche. So you put, let's say you search, so if we're using the example of the flask, you put, let's say, ring or metal flask ring or something like that, right? And it'll give you a bunch of suggestions. It'll give you a bunch of keywords, and then you go by the search volume, and then you go by, you know, whatever the highest search for, and you grab all those keywords, you put them in your back end. But mainly because in order for you to actually show up in the search results on Amazon, you need reviews and you need sales. So we do a lot of very heavy giveaways, and then we also create PPC campaigns. Now, Facebook ads are also very effective, and also influencer marketing on like on Instagram and such. However, I mainly focus on traffic within Amazon first, because here's the thing: 55% of all online shopping, and we're talking tens of thousands, maybe even millions of websites out there. 55% of all online shopping goes through Amazon.com. So if you just think about it, I mean, there's a lot of traffic already coming through Amazon. So what I personally, and first of all, focus on is traffic within Amazon. And then once that product has, you know, proven to me that it's successful, then I'll go and you know, for additional traffic, if let's say if I've hit a peak where my, you know, my product has plateaued, it's not going up anymore, you know, because I like to always keep seeing increases, you know. Once I get to the point where I can't get any more traffic from Amazon, then I will, turn my face to, Facebook ads, influencer marketing, stuff like that. But that's kind of like more advanced. I just barely started doing it, and then I've been selling already for 2 years. So that's, I would definitely say focus on, Amazon traffic before you expand your horizons.
Interesting, interesting. And so, what do you feel about giveaways now that Amazon is sort of penalizing super URLs? So Amazon is also changing a lot of things, right? Like you can't use several different methods that people use to get reviews because their reviews are being taken down. So what's your take on all of these new happenings with Amazon?
Now, here's the thing, with giveaways, it's really a lot easier than reviews, because giveaways, I mean, the simplest thing, what I personally do is I join tens of Amazon reviewer groups and giveaway groups, and they're just a bunch of random people all throughout the world that are just looking for a free product or whatever in exchange for either a review or just to buy it, to show it as a sale. So you could either use those softwares, or you could use those groups. You can utilize those groups. And, I mean, it's simple as, just finding a bunch of people that want to review your product or want to just buy your product for free. You create a 99% promo code or promotion. You provide them with a promo code and they buy it, or you just submit those promo codes into a software that will do it automatically for you using a super URL, based on a keyword that you want to rank for. Now, in another kind of world or another direction, the reviews. Yes, absolutely. Amazon has made it very difficult now to obtain reviews. However, there's still ways to do it. I always say before I would do exchanges, so I would find another seller that wants to get a review and I want to get a review, and then we use we use buyers accounts that are not associated with our sellers accounts, buy each other's and stuff like that. But sometimes what happens is, so you're buying each other's products at the same time, you're shipping them to the same address as your buyer's account, or different within the same city or whatever, and those things may trigger Amazon's kind of red flags. You know what I mean? So what I started doing lately is I'll just, and definitely it is a lot harder than what it was before, but what I would do, because also a lot of those reviewer groups are being taken down by Facebook. So what I do is I just join a bunch of groups once again, and I just find reviewers, not sellers. Because also when you find a seller that's willing to do that's willing to do an exchange with you, you're also risking or you're putting yourself at a risk that they're going to steal your product ID and go launch it yourself. And now you're just bringing more competition into your niche, So what I do is but once again, even if they're just a reviewer, does not guarantee that they're really just reviewers. They might be sellers also saying that they are just a reviewer. But anyhow, so what I'll do is I'll make sure that I find a reviewer. They're in the US or whatever market you are selling in. They buy your product, you refund them through PayPal, you wait a few days. I suggest they wait at least 3 to 5 business days after they receive the product. For your launch, you really only need 2 to 5 reviews. So in order for you to launch a product, I say before you start PPC, before you start anything, just do some giveaways here and there just so that it looks organic, and get yourself 2 to 5 reviews, because we are looking at products that have 50, 60, 70 average review count. We're not competing against people that have hundreds or thousands of reviews. So just a couple of reviews are enough to get you started, to get your product ranking with the giveaways, However, Amazon is actually taking their attention away from reviews with their algorithm and kind of going closer towards just sales. So they're paying closer attention to products that have more sales to rank them higher in the search results than products that have a lot of reviews, because they know reviews are, easy to get to, or at least were, but, now Amazon is cracking down on a lot of accounts, and it's a good thing. And that's the thing, I tell people, this is a positive thing, be positive about it, because this is a good thing. Because 2 months ago, 3 months ago, I was looking at products that had hundreds of reviews. The sales were great, hundreds of reviews. And I was like, you know what? It's kind of difficult for me to compete against these guys. But now Amazon has chopped their reviews in half. So now it's easier for us to actually get into those niches. So if anything, there's bigger opportunities now than there used to be a couple months ago. So.
Interesting, interesting. Yeah, so lastly, do you have any advice for people who want to begin and yeah?
Absolutely. Honestly, I say, Amazon FBA or just selling on Amazon or just being an online entrepreneur altogether is definitely a great way to kicking off, your entrepreneurship and just kind of, and it's all about financial freedom, and this is why, we do what we do. This is why we are online entrepreneurs. Listen, I'm wearing a $10 t-shirt from Walmart. I'm wearing shorts and flip-flops right now, sitting in my home, okay? And I'm talking to you, and I have 2 laptops open right now. All I'm paying is, one rent, one, electric bill, one water bill. I don't have any employees. I don't even have any VAs, okay? And I'm paying $54 for my internet connection. That's all I'm paying. That's all my overhead. I don't really have any overhead, When I owned a business 2 years ago, when I, owned a restaurant, every single day I was managing 10 to 15 employees a shift. I had a landlord that I need to worry about and a rent to make, $5,000-$6,000 a month in rents. I had payroll. I had, $2,000 electric bill. I had $1,000 water bill, I had sales. I had all those expenses that I had to worry about. I had an actual physical business that I needed to be at, open to close, Now I don't. I wake up. You don't need to be dressed in a certain way. You don't need to worry about how you look and stuff like that. You can just literally roll out of your bed and and a lot of times, I just roll out of bed and I'm just like, okay, let me check my emails. My eyes are like swollen. I just woke up, So that's the beauty about it, about becoming an online entrepreneur is that you have the financial freedom. Last month was my wife's birthday. We took a trip, for 3-4 days, and I was able to just collapse my laptop, pick it up and go. And I was making money as we were driving there. I was making money as we were partying. I was making money, as I'm sleeping. I was making money, simplest example, last Wednesday, I was robbed. Okay, my laptop was gone. My phone was gone. I wasn't able to be online for about 48 hours. When I finally got to my laptop, opened my laptop, went to my Amazon business, it was just like as I left it before I was robbed. You know what I mean? Because I don't have to be there to sell. I'm not I get contacted by many people saying, oh yeah, well, I think this whole online thing will be good for me because I'm a great salesperson. And I'm just like, well, you're not really going to be standing in front of customers and selling your product, It's a great opportunity to go into. So I definitely say, if you haven't, you definitely should try it. If you haven't failed, it's because you don't know what you're doing. Find you someone that actually knows what they're doing and let them help you. Aside from that, I appreciate you guys for bringing me here. And thank you very much for being so awesome. And yeah, that's all I got for today.
Thank you so much, Bashar. It was a pleasure talking to you. It was a very interesting talk.
Awesome. Absolutely. Well, very nice meeting you. And thank you very much for this opportunity. Okay.
And thank you guys for joining today's episode of SellerSPEAK. Do follow us on our Facebook channel, our YouTube channel, and do join us for our next episode of SellerSPEAK next Monday. Thank you and goodbye.